Meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November the 17th meeting of the Castle County Board of Commissioners. If you would, join me in a moment of silent prayer followed by pledge of allegiance. Amen. To the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Consent agenda consists of tonight's meeting agenda and the minutes from the 10-20 meeting. Any corrections or additions to those minutes? I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Smith.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Excuse me. Announcements and recognitions. I'll start with you, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to welcome two new employees tonight to our staff. Keith Horton is our new finance director and Stephanie Williams is our new deputy clerk. So we have much to do, so let's get started.
Mr. Totten, and I know Mr. Totten's suffering from laryngitis. Commissioner Holt, Commissioner Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, along Commissioner Smith, would like to welcome our two new employees to the board. I don't know whether I need to say this in recognition or not, but I did have the opportunity to attend the farm tour this back on November the 8th. And it was a very good event. I learned a lot, met a lot of nice people. And I just appreciate everybody who put that tour on. It was a lot to get everything orchestrated to get all that done. I did meet a lady there at Baldwin Farms, and for the life of me, I cannot remember her name. But she is pretty much in charge of the leasing program for the new Dillard apartments. And when myself and Commissioner Ingram were there, we spoke with her, and she said they got a lot of openings still left. So I got some flyers from her. I will give one to you tonight, Mr. Manager. Maybe we can put it on our website, try to help them get those leases fulfilled. That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Ingram.
Nothing, sir.
Commissioner Flaggett.
Yeah, our Veterans Day celebration was moving and heartfelt. And I'd like to thank our veterans, the town of Yanceyville, the senior center, Fred Smith and family, along with the rest of the volunteers that made that possible.
Thank you. All right, public comments. Mr. Whitaker, do we have anybody?
And we have no one signed up this evening.
All right, thank you. Moving on to reports, financial report is included in your packet, gentlemen. Are there any questions? And even if there are, I don't know, we do have, Melissa's here from finance. We got our new finance director. I'm sorry. If you have any questions, finance report. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I do have one question, Scott. There's one section here, property tax agency fund. What is that? On page 4.
Our agency fund is. Okay. We'll get back with you on that exactly.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. You should have received the capital projects report from Castle County Schools. Anybody have any questions concerning that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I do have one question. The list of proposals to date far exceeds the money that we've got budgeted for capital improvements. Is that just a wish list that they want to check off as they get the funds, or are they anticipating more than we've got to give them?
So my understanding was that's what they have in the works apart. I mean, some of that includes things they were working on separately, but I can double check that. This is the first report that they have presented per what was approved, the request that they report regularly, and be glad to have them modify that and make sure that they're only including those that relate to the funding specifically that the county give them, if that would be a help to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Moving down to discussion items, Mr. Whitaker, the final financing resolution for the UHF system and ambulances.
So this is a continuation of what we've been talking about. We've presented resolutions to you at the last meeting in reference to the financing for the UHF system and ambulances. And what we included in the packet that you'll see on the screen is the steps for that. So this is the introduction of the final financing resolution. And for that discussion, we have Davenport here and our bond attorney, and they can introduce themselves again when they come up to the podium.
See, green light, got it. Okay. Good evening, Emily Jessup with Sanford Holzhauser. We're acting as bond counsel for the county on this project. So as Scott said, or as the manager said, this is the second and final action that the board will take. The resolution will give the final approval of the financing and formally approve the winning bank proposal and approve all of the associated financing documents. So you'll have a copy of the draft financing contract in your materials as well. Hasn't been reviewed by the bank yet since they haven't formally been approved by the board. Hopefully you'll do that later tonight and then we'll be able to work with them. The financing contract does include the terms that they provided. It just hasn't been through their council. So that will be for final action at the December 1st meeting.
Any questions? Thank you. Yes, sir.
Ty Welford with Davenport. Nice to see you all again. I'm happy to hold off until the next item just to talk about the action item for tonight, but certainly don't want to move ahead in the agenda if there are any other questions on the plan for next meeting.
What exactly do we need to approve tonight, Scott?
So tonight, what you're looking at is approving, if you go back to that the last meeting, you're going to be approving the findings resolution. Remember, that was called the preliminary findings resolution at the last meeting. And also you're going to be selecting the bank. So, and Mr. Welford can go over any of that review, that kind of deeper dive that we went into last month about a comparison of the four banks. We came away with a recommendation of First National Bank. And so that bank selection, if you can make that decision tonight, that ties into the final findings. And so those two decisions are what you need to make tonight. The other items, the final financing resolution, and the actual draft contract and the enterprise vehicle lease resolution are for discussion tonight, and you'll be voting on those hopefully at the December 1st meeting, because that's critical for us to keep the January 6th LGC meeting date.
That's right. And just for some context on our schedule, the hope is for this January 6th LGC meeting for the commission to consider approval of this financing for the UHF system and ambulance purchase and remount, as well as your enterprise lease, which they need to do for a couple different reasons, one of which being that we're on the UAL list. But in order to meet that January 6th LGC meeting, you all, in a perfect world, will have taken action to adopt this preliminary findings resolution, which we're talking about tonight, which will authorize the application, allow us to apply to the LGC, and then also approve the contract itself at the next meeting, as well as that enterprise lease resolution at the next meeting. That way, we'll have checked off everything on the county side so that the local government commission can then take that up at their January 6th meeting. And that would then allow us to close later in January and allow the county to move forward to access those funds.
Any questions? You have been, or your firm has been in contact with the LGC.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel comfortable that all of this is going to come to pass?
That's the $100 question, but not to get too far in the weeds, in order for the LGC to put local government on the agenda, they need to have both the debt management side and the fiscal management side basically bless it in order for it to get on the agenda. These actions we're taking tonight and the steps we've taken to date kind of check the box for the debt side. The fiscal management side is reviewing audits, being in discussion on where Caswell stands, given that we have been behind but have made tremendous progress on catching up with audits. All indications to date have been that we are going to be able to stick on the January agenda. However, we're having regular discussions with them. If for some reason the progress we're continuing to make with the 24 and the start of the 25 audit stalls for some reason, that could potentially push you out a month, just depending on if LGC is not happy at that time. So I'm not trying to make it a bigger deal than it is. Worst case, it gets shifted out until they're satisfied. But every conversation we've had to date has been positive, and they've been very complimentary on the Caswell team and Ms. Sharp for all the efforts that have been made to date on getting you all caught up. So fingers crossed we're on track as of right now.
All right. Any other questions concerning this particular discussion item before we move on to the draft of the contract? All right. Item 10, First National Bank of Pennsylvania contract.
So Emily Jessup again. I sort of touched on this when I was up for item 9, but in your packet is the draft financing contract. You'll be asked to approve that at the next meeting, which will be a substantially final draft, which will have been reviewed by the bank's counsel, have been reviewed by our team and the county county attorney to make sure that everything's in good order. So it's pretty standard. But I'd be happy to take any questions about any of the particular terms if you have them, or the process of coordinating with the lender.
Mr. Clegg.
The installment financing contract provided doesn't contain a schedule of installment payments nor a list of equipment. The PowerPoint presentation is not a contract.
Correct. Do you want to add that?
That's a great question. So the draft of the contract that's in your document right now does not have those details until we formally select the bank. And so when it comes before you for a vote at the next meeting, that information will be filled in as well as the other missing items that are in there right now.
Thank you.
Good question.
We just wanted to be clear or give you an opportunity to review that because it's really substantively correct. It just needs the review of the bank.
That's right.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to item 11, enterprise vehicle lease resolution.
Let me turn to my page. Yeah, get it all done. Emily Jessup again. So we have the enterprise lease resolution. It's sort of a combination between the findings resolution that we discussed last week related to the UHF system and the final resolution that we just talked about that will approve the financing. So essentially, this resolution makes the required findings that go with the LGC application, and then also authorizes the county to complete the financing or to complete the lease agreement, excuse me, in sort of the same way that they've done the previous lease agreements.
Questions? And all of this is more or less just for information tonight, these items that we've discussed so far.
Well, prepping you for a December 1st decision. Yes, sir.
This is not something we'll be asked to take action on at tonight's meeting. December meeting, first meeting in December. No questions?
And I'll just add as to the urgency of this. So back to the question about the LGC and the timetable, the LGC had are normally expecting to have our audit results or 24 results 2 months prior to their meeting, which remember now is January the 6th. So I think they are accommodating us that we're a little behind because they know how hard we've worked on the 24 audit, and they're kind of at the mercy of our auditors right now to complete that portion. So that's just the caveat of where we are. We think they're committed to the January 6th date.
No questions?
No.
Thank y'all. Item 12, the Southern Health Partners contract. Mr. Whitaker.
So the sheriff's office has currently a health services agreement with Southern Health Partners, and that current contract, and this is split up. They're on a calendar year and that is split up. And right now that contract is $236,314. And what this is about is an increase of 4% for the calendar year. So that increase total is $9,453. That's where you get the $245,767. And their memo that's in your packet describes, their restructuring of their contracts. That's part of this, but really that increases the 4% on the base fee and the per diem rate. And there is no action required at this meeting, just putting it on here for your discussion prior to the next meeting.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I assume that this $4,453 increase was anticipated when the budget was prepared and included in the budget.
I believe I wasn't here at that time, but I believe it was part of it. But can our finance office answer that? We can look back to see if that was in the request this spring or winter rather.
I'd like to add something, sir. Maybe would it be because Southern Health Partners actually go through the calendar year and we're on fiscal?
It may relate to that because they're clearly off kilter from us, and we were budgeting, I know, starting with January. So that could be it.
Could we reach out to them and ask them to give us a quote for the fiscal year next time?
We could ask. I'm not sure the way they are structured. Uh, they use a calendar year. I'm not sure they'd be willing to change that up, but I guess it's worth a request.
Don't know if we don't ask.
That's right.
One more thing. Do they provide a nurse at the jail 24/7? Or how, is it just 8 hour day?
Yes, basically, it's not 24/7.
Okay. Any other questions? We will take action on this item at our next meeting in December. Okay, item 13. Budget amendment number 1 for CATS Enterprise Fund.
And
Wow.
while Skylar is coming up for this topic, got an answer to Commissioner Smith's question about the property tax agency fund. That the agency word was throwing me there, but it is where we record taxes for Milton and
Oh, okay.
Yanceyville,
Right.
and they pay it out to them. So that's where that's from. Thank you, Finance Department.
All right, Skylar.
Good evening. Caswell County Area Transportation is asking for a budget amendment to place and install a new engine in our bus 26. It's a 2022 Ford LTV. We take it for preventative maintenance. We make sure that it goes to Stearns Ford in Burlington and is in tip-top shape. But when it went on the 20th, they realized that it had low compression and they recommended that we replace the engine. So we're asking for a budget amendment for $16,500 from our enterprise funds. So it's not any tax money. It comes from our reserve.
All right. Have any questions? I know that you and Melissa, and I believe you mentioned at the last meeting, that $1,400 that we had just spent on it.
Yes, they assured us that from that visit that they will make that adjustment there. And Skylar and I talked and thought it'd probably be good just to go ahead and put this full amount just to cover us in case they run into anything. But as she had told me as well, after talking with Stearns, that we hope to come in under that.
Okay, all right. So the 16.5, y'all believe will be the max?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I have one question. Maybe you guys can help me with it. That money's coming out of fund balance for the enterprise.
Of Pat's Enterprise, yes.
Do you know what that balance is or what?
It's a little over 900,000, is that correct?
It's not 37,000.
Okay, so there's plenty
Yeah.
there. Not, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the budget amendment?
So move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ingram,
Second.
second from Commissioner Rose. Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Skylar. All right, moving down to the action items. Defining resolution and bank selection, financing the UHF system and ambulances. This is where we will be approving the bank.
This is a two-part decision, and you can break those motions up if you would prefer, or you can make those together as long as we get a decision this evening to approve the findings resolution and to make the bank selection, which is First National Bank or First National Bank of Pennsylvania, as you saw in the contract. It's one and the same.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager, nothing has changed. Anything changed from the last presentation we had concerning the banks as far as the figures, the interest and all of that? Nothing has changed.
No, sir. Everything's exactly the same. My colleague Tyler Smith, who presented at the last meeting, the recommendation has not changed. The term sheet is still unchanged. The bank is willing to hold the rate so long as the board is willing to select them at this meeting, and it'll be held firm through the end of January, which is within our anticipated closing. From a just an aside, interest rates have actually gone up since the last meeting. So this worked out really well in terms of timing of when we got the proposals in and the bank willing to honor its commitment to hold the rate firm. So it's a long-winded way of saying nothing has changed. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I will also add the resolution that is behind the summary for your consideration does have First National listed in there. To the manager's point, if you all wanted to take it as separate items, I assume that you could, but by adopting that resolution, that does name First National as the winning bank in the preliminary findings resolution, which includes that and also authorizes the application of the LGC for this financing.
And I did provide a suggested motion that accomplishes those actions if you would like to use that as a guide.
Any more questions, comments? What's the pleasure of the board? Mr. Claggett?
So by approving this resolution, are we approving the contract?
No, sir.
No.
Okay.
It'll be at the next meeting.
We're just approving the financial institution.
Okay.
And just to clarify, if for some reason the financing does not close, you do not owe anything to the bank. It does not lock you in any way.
And after the bank's review of the sample contract that is in your packet this evening, we'll make you aware of any changes that they want to that before or during your deliberations of that at the next meeting.
Any more questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve First National Bank of Pennsylvania's contract for the finance and UHF system and the ambulance.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Rose to use First National Bank of Pennsylvania for financing of the UHS system and the ambulance remount. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Smith. Excuse me. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-2. All right. Now, we also need a motion to approve the findings resolution. These kind of work together.
Just a moment. I'd make a motion that we approve the findings resolution as presented.
I have a motion from Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second from Commissioner Ingram. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you all again.
Thank you.
All right, item 15, Citizen Advisory Board Policy Revisions to address nepotism. Mr. Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you may recall, at the last few meetings, there's been quite a bit of discussion about the potential of a nepotism policy being implemented into our CAB policy. This draft before you is the same draft that was before this board at the last meeting. And in researching state law, there's no indication that there's a prohibition on multiple family members serving on local boards and committees. However, state law does give this board the ability to regulate those type of appointments through a nepotism policy. So if approved, the highlighted language that you see on the screen will be implemented as the nepotism sub-policy in our local citizen advisory board policy.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. This is the same item that we discussed at our prior meeting on November the 3rd. It's brought back to us tonight for action. Comments or questions?
And I'll note that I did send you an email, all of the board, that just compared the language in this nepotism sub-policy to what is in our personnel manual, because that was discussed at the last meeting, and that I think gave you a good view. I just wanted you to see, the language side by side, so maybe that was helpful.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Claggett.
since the consensus of this board believes that citizens volunteering to serve the community is a good thing, as do I, but desires a nepotism clause to guard the sanctity of fairness for that, then why not have the same clause regarding county employment? Is it not addressing the same standard? If the same sanctity of fairness clause doesn't apply for county employees, then make a policy to reflect that for employees so there's no confusion. Simply put it in writing with the reason included.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? What's the pleasure of the board on this item?
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the nepotism or related revision to the current Citizen Advisory Board policy as presented.
All right, have a motion from Commissioner Ingram to adopt the nepotism policy. Have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-2. All right, COLA for part-time employees.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we get started on this matter, I would respectfully ask the board that I be recused from either discussing this or voting on this matter due to the fact that I feel like it's a conflict of interest concerning me personally. Because I am a part-time employee and I would benefit from anything that would be done concerning this matter.
And you've all have heard Commissioner Rose's statement. We have a motion that he be allowed to recuse himself.
Make a motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Smith. Second from Commissioner Totten. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Also have no issue in stepping in the back while y'all discuss this.
All right. You're gonna take this, Mr. Whitaker?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So when the current budget was adopted this past June, the budget ordinance itself defined that only full-time permanent employees would receive the cost of living adjustment. And at Commissioner Smith's request, what's included in your packet is a breakdown of regular positions, temporary positions. Of course, then we have seasonal employees beyond that. And if you do want to proceed with this, the solution is pretty simple in that if you wanted to move forward with providing this, and you'll see on that page 93 at the top, the memo, the cost of a 1.5% increase in this situation is $7,800. The FICA impact of that's another $598 for a total of $8,412. And that could be pulled from contingency in each department, and that wouldn't require any further action by the board. But we would want you to make a formal decision for us to move forward with that, since we have a budget ordinance that was adopted, and this would be a change from that. So the money is there in contingency if you would like to do that.
All right. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as I stated 2 weeks ago, it was my thought that the COLA increase would be across the board That's what Ms. Pasquard mentioned in during that meeting. And I didn't know that we were exempting part-time employees. Had we been exempting them, I probably would have issued that question as to whether they would receive it or not. And then we could decide. But it's my opinion that we need our part-time employees, and they face inflation just like everybody else does.
Any other comments, questions?
And
Scott,
and
you'd
just to
like
be clear, if you did proceed with this, there are seasonal employees that we're not including in that. For instance, with Parks and Recreation, there's some seasonal workers there that aren't factored into those numbers.
You said this money could come out of contingency.
For
Or
each department,
Each department has a contingency.
yes.
So the number, well, let's just take a wild example. If solid waste had 3 part-time employees, that increase would come out of their contingency. Social services had 20, that 20 would come out of their contingency. I see Ms. Miller back there shaking her head, so I guess I'm thinking about this
Correct.
right. Okay.
Unless there are any caveats to each department having.
We will take the money out of contingency in the amount that each department needs. And then we don't need approval for that since it's under 10,000. We just need you guys to make the motion that you do want us to pay all part-time employees that apply. And so the contingency money is already appropriated.
Okay.
Don't need to do a budget.
Okay. I don't really have a problem with this going forward, but what effective date are we going to use?
We're gonna.
Is it, go ahead,
If you want to be fair, we're gonna have to go back
July 1.
Right.
and retro. I mean, it's gonna, I wouldn't want you to put a date that they would receive it,
Mm.
but we can go back to July 1 because it's gonna take some work to get it all together.
Now this $7,814, that goes back to July 1? Does that,
Yeah.
okay,
July 1.
okay, all right. So that'd be for the 12, the whole fiscal year. The 7814 is gonna cover
Yes.
that 1.5%.
So
Plus the FICA.
Plus the FICA, yeah. Okay, because we don't pay any retirement or anything on
no,
part-time.
no.
Right.
And you wouldn't even have to say the dollar amount if you just want to say the 1.5%. And that way, if it's
Yes.
off just a little bit for something.
Yeah.
But, the point here is that if you want us to do this, we want board action to direct us to vary from the ordinance.
Right. What's the feelings of the board?
Mr. Chair, just my feelings on this is that I'm looking at the part-timers, they're very, very important to us here in the county as well. And a lot of time we have the part-time because we just haven't got to the point where we can keep full-time. And, to do that, actually a part-time person is actually not getting any benefits at all other than the pay. So, I'm more inclined to, be on the side with the part-time.
Mr. Chairman, once again, our part-time employees are very valuable to us because many of our part-time people are retired, semi-retired, and they've got all experience, training, certifications, and so forth. So I think they're very valuable.
Any other comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve the COLA increase for part-time employees?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second from Commissioner Claggett. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. Motion carries unanimous. Mr. Ingram, would you ask Commissioner Rose to join us, please? I would ask finance though, if,
Yeah.
when you get in the system and make these changes, if you come up with a number that varies much, please let us know.
County manager, is there a projected date that you would like us to get this money out? The only reason I ask is the first week in December, we got Thanksgiving, and then the first week in December, we pay out longevity. We don't want to do anything like that. We'd like to do it a pay by itself, so they know that they got it. Or just when we can.
I would say as soon as possible, but at your discretion as well.
That stuff.
Right.
Okay, once we come up with a date, I'll let him know so he can.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Noon closing on the 23rd of December for the holidays. Mr. Whitaker.
So my understanding is since the pandemic, the county employees have preferred to leave at noon on the day before our scheduled Christmas break, and which will be December, that last day, December the 23rd. And my understanding is employees generally like this option better than the traditional employee appreciation luncheon. And the request is for continuance of that recent tradition to close at noon, and then with departments that must stay open or maintain essential services, those employees would be able to take those 4 hours on another day, just that way, so everyone's would be receiving the same benefit. And that's coming to you as a recommendation to approve early dismissal based on the preferences as they have been relayed to me anyway, of closing at noon that day.
And I believe, Ms. Williamson, that you said if an employee was off that day, that they didn't get 4 hours of comp.
That's correct. You have to work that day to get the 4 hours. You can't use the 4 hours and then just put 4 with it and take the whole day. You have to be here in order to be able to leave at noon and get the hours. And we have been doing this since COVID, and the employees do seem to prefer to do that. And it does, prevent the county from having to rent the civic center and to pay a caterer and employ, and everyone seems to really enjoy being able to do that.
Questions, comments from the board? What's the board's pleasure?
I like that idea.
I have a motion to approve the noon closing on the 23rd for county employees.
So move.
I have a motion from Commissioner England,
Second.
second from Commissioner Totten. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, reports and updates. We'll start with you, Mr. Manager.
So I have a few things, but I'll recognize our deputy manager to speak to you just a bit, a reminder about Christmas parade and holidays.
Our annual Christmas tree lighting and Christmas festival here in the county will be Friday, December the 5th, and that will actually start at 6, go from 6 to 8:30, and it will be held at 158 East Church Street, which is where the pavilion is at. And of course, after, the next day, after doing the Christmas festival and tree lighting, is the parade, which will be Saturday, December the 6th, and that will start at 10. And I know last year that some of you participated in the parade, so we'd like for you to be thinking about that so we can kind of get a head count. I think last year, Mr. Yarborough, you drove because one of the other commissioners ride and was not able to walk and, that far. And then some of you walked. So kind of just need to get an idea of who all may participate and if we're going to, if you're going to have vehicles in it, so we can let the chamber know and if we need to get you all registered. So be thinking about that and let me know because that date will be here before you know it.
Y'all would get with Deputy County Manager and let her know your intentions.
So last meeting, I mentioned a boiler that had stopped working at the detention center, and I said that expense was going to be close to 50,000. And I have some really good news about that. Insurance is covering every bit of that with a little investigation into that. Thanks to staff for pressing them and also for just being really proactive about taking good photos and communicating well. That really moved things along, I think, with this claim. And just shout out to them not only for pursuing that, but also for getting it swapped out. That was a major undertaking. And also, we've had some other significant HVAC problems with the other courthouse, and really appreciate the staff, particularly maintenance, that played a role in getting those back up and online. And we still have some of those problems going on, but we're doing all we can to solve important heating problems. I had sent you an email this week or perhaps late last week about our emergency water situation, or rather the town of Yanceyville's water situation that runs Danville water through our trunk line. And what I had mentioned, and it was last week, was about some delays in payments. And there was a meeting that I had with the town, with the school system, and the outcome of that was that we're not going to rely on our postal service for moving payments between the town to the school system and then the school system to Danville. We're going to try to make sure those entities, the town and the school system, are going to make sure that those are hand delivered, and hopefully, if Danville will do it, posted on the day that they're brought in, so we can make sure that these bills are all paid on time. And just kind of bigger picture about that. Of course, we have an agreement, the county and the town, for reimbursement of these funds. In hindsight, and we didn't know that this repair process with the town was going to be as extended as it is. It would have probably been better if we'd have had a three-way contract for that. But to remedy that, I know that the town of Yanceyville and the school system are working on a similar contract for reimbursement, just to make sure all parties are covered. And again, that's not a criticism of how we approached it. It's just the timeline of that project's extended a little further, and it got complicated because we are the owner of the line and the legal responsible party with the agreement with Danville, but we have the school system being the only entity that's connected or has been connected in a billing capacity. And then we have the town that's actually the agent that needs the water. So with all that said, understand the town is making good progress on their repairs. The repairs have grown. They're more extensive than just the media, the pipes that they were originally going to replace right under that media. That's now been extended to some other plumbing because of some of that media and or residue. I don't pretend to know that operation exactly, but it is more extensive. They do have a contractor on board, and they're still looking at kind of the end of this year, or maybe right at the beginning, to have those repairs completed. At the last meeting, Commissioner Holt brought up his recollection about the potential entrance road for Cherokee Tobacco at the Pelham site. And I was directed to look into that a little more. And we've looked at the minutes. We've gone back and looked at all of the 2024 minutes, all of the 2025 minutes, open and closed session. And we did find some references, but, and I'll just hit some highlights on that because, you know, at the time when the board was talking about that, there were some references also to the seed project across the road, but there is some language back in some minutes from November of 23, actually back a little bit further than 24, and it talks about a site plan that shows a new road going through it. Talks about having a lot of flexibility that early on in the project. And there was a statement in a meeting about, from you, Commissioner Holt, that they would need to build the road down to the back of the property. And it said it would be part of the deal, is the way the minutes read. And the way that was left, at least in the minutes, was Mr. Smith said we could have Dewberry, if the board's interested, have Dewberry take this action and resize it a little bit, make it a little deeper, to minimize the road frontage to be given up. And hopefully it's not necessary, and hopefully PCC can work it out with this process. So that part seems to be talking about more about the seed project across the road. But I wondered if that might have been the part that you were remembering from that discussion. Further back in 23 or?
Yes, when we
Okay.
were talking about selling it to them. It didn't have anything to do with seed.
Okay. So if you would like for us to go back further in the minutes and see if we can find anything, we'll be glad to do that. We thought that was as far back as where the project likely would have talked about that, but we can go back further. Another item this evening is I would like to congratulate our planning director, Jason Watlington. He started in this particular position as planning director just under 2 years ago, and he had a 2-year goal to get his certified zoning officer designation. That's important for us. He has passed that exam and now a member of the North Carolina Association of Zoning Officials, and glad to have that credential in our planning department. And that's all I have. We're going to talk about another item of due diligence with Pelham in the attorney's report.
Can I add one more update? I also wanted to let you all know, I just thought about this too. We also filled the position at Coast Square. So Crystal Milner, she started today. So if you see a new face over there, we're very excited to have her there. So that is another vacancy that we have.
Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At your last meeting, Commissioner Smith inquired about a due diligence fee for Pelham Industrial Park in the amount of $21,850. And I was able to communicate with County Manager Whitaker about the origin of that due diligence. And we located an email from David A. Ross, who's the Deputy Department Manager with Dewberry. And I was able to reach out to him today by telephone. And it's my understanding, Commissioners, that there was an application process on behalf of the county to apply for Golden Leaf grant money in the amount of $50,000. And Dewberry had quoted a phase 1 environmental site assessment, a preliminary wetland and stream determination, threatened and endangered species report, boundary survey, and a geotech report for the site at the industrial park that totaled $71,850. So I think the $21,850 that you were referring to would have been in excess of the Golden Leaf grant money. I did find out that although the application was discussed, the application was never submitted on behalf of the county. And I think this was during the transition when our prior county manager left and right before Scott came on board with the county. So it looks like if the county wants to pursue that, we'll need to apply for the next round of Gold Leaf grant money. And I'll be glad to do further research on this. I didn't receive an update from Dewberry until late this afternoon, but I'll be glad to inquire further to see if we'll be eligible for that next round.
And I appreciate our attorney finding out exactly where that number's from, because I've had that number for some time because it was budgeted. I just couldn't reconcile where exactly it was coming from. So thank you for digging into that.
Yeah, we did discuss that back during the budget, and we put that money in because we were going after a Golden Leaf grant at the time. And I didn't know the timetable, but I think it's something we need to keep, eye on and get ready to go ahead and get the due diligence. And if that grant's going to be available again, we should be prepared.
Or if there's no objection, I'll be glad to do further research and I can update the board periodically.
I think that'd be fine.
And I'll have further updates during the closed session for you.
All right, thank you. Time for commissioner comments or questions. I'll start with you, Commissioner Claggett.
Yeah, I was just wondering when this board and the taxpayer will be made aware of the recent OSHA findings and the fines associated and those findings along with the corrections made.
Be glad to tell you what I know, which is we've been talking about it just today, and we have been in communication with OSHA, and they have still not given us the report. Is the short answer. And they do, it's been brought to my attention by the deputy manager, they do have a time limit of, I believe that's 6 months.
A training that I attended at the first of last week, that's what I was told. If they have not issued the citation by then it sounds like that they, I'm not sure that they can continue to enforce their citations. And they even said during that training that the governmental shutdown had not affected North Carolina OSHA. So I do know that after talking with Jennifer that I discussed with you, that I do know it's at the chief officers reviewing it now. So I'm assuming maybe soon, very soon, we probably will be hearing something.
Commissioner Ingram,
Nothing.
Commissioner Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just have a couple of things. One, Mr. Manager, before I get there, again, I'd like to welcome Mr. Horton and Ms. Williams. Glad both of y'all are with us. One thing I've alluded to in the past, I've kind of brought it up, and it kind of brought it up a little bit tonight. I know we're dealing with the vehicles on this lease that was already in the works, and I do understand that. But before budget, I do want us to take a hard look at the vehicles that we do have let's see where we can make some cuts. And the reason I say that is, just like we had the budget amendment tonight, Southern Health Partners, everything I'm seeing, we're going to probably face an increase on our health coverage for our employees. So I'm kind of looking at if we can make some cuts somewhere within these vehicles, within the county, we can offset what may be coming down the road in this healthcare increase. And the second thing I have is, do we have any updates on where we stand on hiring an EMS director?
Just talking about that this week too. So there are a couple of folks that we're going to reach out to, one at the state level and a couple of folks that have some direct experience with Caswell, and we're going to be meeting with them soon to talk through that separation potentially, whether that's a good idea for Caswell or not, and based on best practices, et cetera. So in the works. And as soon as we have clarity of that, the position will be advertised.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, I've got a couple things. And once again, I'm really pleased to have a deputy clerk on board now. I'm hoping that we can get some of the efforts of the board out to the media. We talk about negative things so much. We want to promote our positive accomplishments as well. That's one thing. The next thing is, I've got a question on the lease monies that we're going to the LGC on in January. Is that for the 12 months in the budget year? Or is that for the full extent of the term of the lease, say 48 months or 36 months? Do we have to get that full amount approved or just the 12 months?
My understanding is the full amount on that. Unless it is the full.
All right, that was my understanding too. And I'm still not convinced that we can't do better off by buying our vehicles outright. So at some point in time, we need to take a good hard look at that, and we're going to spend our money, this February or whatever. Maybe we should know whether we're getting a good deal or not prior to doing that.
And I will say we've had some discussion with Davenport, our financial consultant. So I think they've left this evening, but we had some discussion about enterprise in particular, and that's centered around they're not always the best price wise, but there are a lot of conveniences that the counties enjoyed with that, or that larger organizations enjoy with a company that size. But where we kind of settled in that discussion was the urgency of moving forward and what's already lined up with the LGC. But point well taken.
Okay. One final question. You've hired a number of people in the last 30 days. Do we have any current vacancies at this time?
We have some positions that are still budgeted. For instance, a HR specialist is one position that's budgeted. And aside from the ones that regularly occupy our vacancy board, can you think of any?
Crystal here.
Can you go to job listings on the website?
I can.
That's in the works. Still in the works. That is still in the works. We've had some interviews, but that's still in the works as well. As far as I know, that's still in the works. Part-time landfill, that's in the works as well. Full-time as well, yes. Social worker investigative, that's open as well. Social worker 3, that's open as well. If we're looking for a nurse practitioner, we do have one that is retiring at the end of this, so we are in need of that.
sheriff's deputy full-time. I just brought on the second one of those. Sheriff's office, detention officer, working on that. And I believe that's it. I think it was detention officer, I'm sorry, that was on the second one. And everything on there is still active.
Okay,
And
thank you.
so I wasn't sure if you were asking just for administration, but
That's what I was asking for, but that's good information too.
Mr. Holt? All right, upcoming events, the 18th, which is tomorrow, Board of Adjustment meeting. The 20th, joint meeting between the county, Yanceville and Milton. Do you need a head count on that?
I believe we know everyone except for you.
And I'll let you know that before that, I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. The 25th planning board meeting. The offices, county offices be closed next Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. Our next meeting will be December the 1st here at 5 o'clock. And also, this is not on the agenda, but that date, December 1, is the beginning of the filing period for county and state offices and congressional seats. So if anyone is interested in any of those slots, starts that day at noon, I believe is right, and runs through the 19th. I was thinking 15th, 19th. So just head on over to the Board of Elections and fill out that paperwork if you're interested. And if I'm not mistaken, 5 of these 7 seats will be up for election. Everybody except Commissioner Ingram and Commissioner Smith were just elected last year. Mr. Holt, Mr. Rose, and myself will have served our 4-year term. Mr. Totten and Mr. Claggett are filling an unexpired term, and I believe the law reads that they will have to be up again at the first general election, which will be next November. Am I right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I think I am. All right. Just wanted to throw that out there. I know everybody probably knows when filing is, but maybe someone in the public doesn't, and they want to jump on board. Closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A3. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Claggett,
Second.
second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we now sit in closed session.